Most people think the best phone in the world has to be either an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy. And honestly, for years that's been true. But this year, something very different has happened. The Pixel 10 Pro XL doesn't just compete in the middle in two areas that matter more than almost anything else. It's actually better than both Apple and Samsung. And the crazy part is that no one is talking about it. So now I'm going to show you exactly why the Pixel 10 Pro XL might be the most complete Google phone ever made, and how it manages to do what the biggest players couldn't. But first, hit that subscribe button. We are really close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. Let's start with the first big reason: battery life. The Pixel 10 Pro XL has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, the biggest ever in a Pixel. And here's where it gets interesting. That's larger than Samsung's S25 Ultra at 5,000 and way ahead of Apple's iPhone 16 Pro Max at 1,685. Apple is famous for making smaller batteries last longer thanks to software optimization, but the Pixel 9 Pro XL already had incredible endurance with a slightly smaller battery. So the Pixel 10 Pro XL is on track to be one of the longest-lasting flagship phones of the year. And if you combine that with Google's new Tensor G5 chip built on a cutting-edge 3nm processor, efficiency should only get better. This is the first time in years Google has real hardware numbers on its side. But the second reason might be even bigger, which is charging. Last year's Pixel wasn't exactly slow. 37 watts wired, 23 watts wireless. Not bad, but nothing special. Well, this year, it has a whopping 45 watts wired and 25 watts wireless. That's a solid step up. But here's where things take a wild turn. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is the first Android phone with magnetic Qi 2 wireless charging. That means you can now snap it onto MagSafe chargers, stands, wallets, and accessories, and it charges at full 25-watt speeds. Think about that. Google has just given Android users access to Apple's massive MagSafe ecosystem: chargers, stands, car mounts, wallets, and it works out of the box. That's the kind of feature you don't see coming, but once you have it, you'll use it every day. Of course, OnePlus still rules the spec sheet with 80-watt wired and 50-watt wireless, but you only get that with OnePlus's proprietary chargers.
The Pixel works with any Qi 2 charger, especially the ones I have linked in the description below.
Universal and simple, so check them out. Now, don't forget that this is still a Pixel. Same triple camera system as last year: a 50-megapixel main, 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and 48-megapixel telephoto with 5x optical zoom. Same 42-megapixel selfie camera too, but you now get 100x zoom to match Samsung's Ultra, and 8K video recording at 30 frames per second.
On the software side, Android 16 introduces Google's Gemini AI features everywhere. Magic Q for smarter replies, Material 3 expressive UI, plus all the usual Pixel perks like fast updates and clean design. The screen is brighter than before, now peaking at 3,300 nits. Storage starts at 256 gigabytes at a price of $1,199, making this one of the priciest Pixels yet. So I will conclude by saying this: for years, Pixels have been the camera phones. Nice software, great photos, but rarely a serious threat to iPhones and Galaxies in everyday usability. The Pixel 10 Pro XL changes that. It's got a bigger battery than Samsung, faster, smarter charging than Apple, and thanks to Qi 2, it opens the door to an entire accessory ecosystem no other Android phone can match. This isn't just Google catching up. For the first time, the Pixel actually pulls ahead. And that's why the Pixel 10 Pro XL might be the most complete phone Google has ever built, and maybe the one that finally puts them in the same conversation as Apple and Samsung.